So let's talk about video doorbells for a second, because honestly, we've all had that moment. You step out for 5 minutes and of course that's when your delivery shows up. Either you get one of those missed you notes or the package just vanishes. So smart doorbells are certainly a great way to avoid that. But like most of us, we aren't really up for paying a monthly fee. Well, that's where an option like this comes in handy. This is the Youkey DB312 dual camera video doorbell. It is basically a smart, easy to use doorbell that's all about giving you better views and more control over who's at your door. It's got 2 cameras, so you get a wider field of view, both a front facing and downward angle to catch everything from faces to packages on the doorstep. It also comes with motion detection, 2-way audio so you can chat with visitors, and night vision that actually works pretty well. Plus, it integrates with your phone for real-time alerts and easy access, making it a solid option if you want reliable home security without breaking the bank. And I've got to say, it's genuinely impressed me in a few key areas. But is it still a decent purchase for the average consumer? With many similar products on the market and others at variable price points, it's safe to say, is this something more than just a gimmick? Well, let's first start by unboxing it. Unboxing the doorbell, you get everything you'd expect. The camera unit, a USB-C charging cable, the wall chime, mounting screws, and 2 brackets, one flat and one angled at 15 degrees. So you do get some option there for the installation. I actually went with the basic bracket because I thought that probably would work the best, but some might find that angled one to be much easier to use. A small touch to add to, but definitely a handy one. In terms of build quality, it feels solid, not flimsy or overly plasticky. It's got a clean matte black finish that looks smart but low key. You probably could stick this on almost any kind of home, brick, render or whatever, and it wouldn't look out of place. It's also IP65 waterproof, so no worries if it's pouring down out there, it will hold up fine. I actually went for the battery powered setup mainly because I couldn't be bothered to run wires or mess around with any transformers. However, if you've already got an existing wired doorbell, you could easily hook it up with this, but most will find the battery route a much more easier option. In terms of setup, you just mount the bracket, slide the unit in, and follow the steps in the app. There is no need for any special tools or drilling. You could install the bracket with some screws, or simply adhere it if you wanted to. Setup took me around 10 minutes in total, and that did include fiddling with the bracket alignment. But as a whole, the installation, very easy. Now, pairing with the Youkey Smart app was also pretty straightforward. It found the device automatically and walked me through a Wi-Fi setup, and thankfully it does support dual band Wi-Fi, so you can connect to either 2.4 GHz or 5 GHz depending on your setup. I've actually been using it on a 5 GHz network with 0 connection drops or lags, so certainly a plus if you have that setup already. Now, once you are connected, you can tweak a bunch of settings within the app. Things like motion sensitivity, detection zones, notifications, storage options, and even the chime volume. Believe it or not, you can also link it to Alexa or Google Assistant so you can view the camera on a smart display or get voice notifications. It doesn't support Apple HomeKit, which is a shame if you're in the Apple ecosystem, but for most people using Alexa or Google, it should fit in very nicely. Right, so let's first talk about the actual camera quality, because this is where it gets good. And look, I've tried a couple of budget options before, and either the video looked like CCTV footage from the 90s, or the audio sounded like it was coming from underwater. But thankfully, the main front-facing camera records in 2K, and it's got a 158-degree field of view, which is really wide. So even if someone's off to the side or not standing directly in front of your door, you'll still see them pretty clearly. Now on the other hand, the second downward facing camera is 1080p with 120 degrees field of view, and it's just brilliant for seeing if a parcel's been left on your doorstep or if one of your pets like your cat is lurking by the door. It's certainly a unique field of view on a doorbell that I haven't seen before, and honestly I think it's a pretty good idea. In daytime, the video is really crisp, faces are clear, colors look natural, and the HDR helps balance out any shadows if it's bright or sunny. What really surprised me though is the night vision. You've got 3 different modes to choose from, including full color night vision if there's ambient light nearby. And even in near darkness, the footage holds up. There's no blurry mess, no overexposed streetlights, it is pretty darn good. Now when it comes to motion alerts, this thing is rather clever. It doesn't just react to anything that moves. It uses a mix of passive infrared radar and an on-device AI, which means it's better at telling the difference between a person, a car driving by, or a delivery being dropped off. You can even set up motion zones within the app so it's not pinging you every time a neighbor walks by. So you can just set it up to your actual location. That way, any motion within that box will be detected. I found that to be genuinely useful because my street is quite busy, so I was picking up a lot of false alerts. Now there is two-way audio on the Youkey DB312 and it is actually pretty decent. There is a tiny bit of delay, probably about 2 or 3 seconds, but voices are clear and you can understand each other without shouting.
Yeah, no problem.
I've used it to speak to couriers while I was in the middle of a Zoom call and he heard me rather well. It's obviously not studio quality, but for a doorbell, it's pretty solid. Now battery life on this thing can last up to 180 days on a single charge based on around 20 events per day. I've had it running for just over a week now and it's still at about 80% charge. Obviously if your front door is a hive of activity, it'll drain faster, but for regular home use it should be fine for a couple of months between charges. Charging the unit is super straightforward. When the battery runs low, just use the supplied pin ejection tool to unclip the doorbell from the mount. You can then just simply take it and plug it in using the USB-C cable provided. From my experience, it charges up quickly. I'd say roughly 4 to 5 hours from nearly empty to full. And since the battery lasts up to 180 days on a single charge, you're really not having to do this very often. It's one of those set it up and forget it situations, which is exactly what you want from a smart doorbell. What I do like about this doorbell is if you're away from home, like properly away, maybe like on holiday, it still works great. I've tested it while out of town just using mobile data and the live feed comes through no problem. Sometimes it takes a bit of time to connect, but overall it does connect really well and the connection is very stable. So all in all, if you're looking for a video doorbell that gives you a solid amount of coverage, lets you keep an eye on your doorstep without any fuss, and doesn't lock you into any subscriptions, this one's honestly a pretty decent option. It's not super fancy, but it does the job well. Especially if you want something reliable and straightforward. If you're after peace of mind without spending a ton, it's definitely worth considering. As always, be sure to check this product out in the link in the description. Let me know what you think. Till next time.